I'm Tom Layson, and this is a Northwest Now Digital Extra. The Delta variant is coursing through western Washington, and people of faith are among those struggling with vaccine hesitancy. They perceive a bright line between church and state and between science and the divine. But as Northwest Now contributor Philip Townsend shows us, 2 local pastors are lending their voices to the call to get vaccinated. If you know the history of Lake Bay and home, you know that independent thinking has a long history here. But so does the Lake Bay Community Church, for almost 100 years now, gathering the faithful to build a community.
I'm not going to tell them what to do, but I have certainly encouraged them that I believe getting vaccinations is one of the best things that we can do right now.
But Pastor Dan Whitmarsh says that community is sharply divided, and that his views that science reveals God's creative work is why he's backing masks and vaccines, no matter the cost.
And there have been some people that have left the Lake Bay Church and started attending other churches who have been maybe more open and free on whether or not people need to be masked or vaccinated. And then we've had some people show up at Lake Bay because they thought their churches maybe weren't taking it seriously enough, and they heard what we were doing, and so they have started attending here and appreciated that. So there really does seem to be a shifting, a migration that's happening as people find places that are more in line with their own personal values and opinions.
But opinions on the Key Peninsula and in rural Pierce County in general swing against vaccinations, more so than in the urban centers. That's why government leadership recently convened Pierce County's Associated Ministries group, asking for help in spreading the message that vaccines are safe and effective, which is where Association Director Mike Yoder and Pastor Whitmarsh agree.
It is controversial. In many faith communities, people have left, when maybe a congregation has decided to follow the health department's mask guidelines. And those are tough things to do, but, sometimes it is hard to do the right thing. I just want to see faith leaders stepping up and being the community leaders that I think the world is watching and waiting for them to be. People want to follow strong, moral, sacrificial leaders. And for the most part, the clergy that I know, the pastors that I know, are those people.
The rubber hits the road when Whitmarsh and Yoder work in the community, visiting the Key Peninsula Fire Department, for instance, trying to understand attitudes, what first responders are seeing in the community, and help them help others find their way to vaccinations.
One of my arguments all along has been that the church is focusing, the larger church is focusing too much on rights and freedoms and not on, well, how do I lay those aside for the betterment of the community? And right now, wearing masks, social distancing, and getting vaccinated are the 3 strongest methods that we have to achieve optimal communal health in this moment. So I have argued that I think scripturally there's a really strong call to do all of those things in order to serve our neighbors, in order to serve the vulnerable.
In the end, pastors relying on the science are staying the course, all while emphasizing what they see as the Bible's mandate to the faithful, and that is to be other-oriented.
It's brought some vulnerabilities to light in a new way that my hope is that we will not go back, that we will say, we've got to do better at caring for people in need.
I have hope that there are better days ahead, and there's going to be days of laughter and joy, and that this will be a distant memory, and that we will come out of it better and stronger.
To see our full discussion about the Delta variant and the coronavirus pandemic, be sure to look in the Northwest Now digital section at kbtc.org. Northwest Now airs Friday nights at 7:30 right here on KBTC. And be sure to look for more digital stories like this one by following us on Facebook and Twitter at Northwest Now.